Welcome back. America's heroin crisis is, in fact, a crisis. It has risen to levels that demand the attention of candidates running for president this year. Candidates from both sides of the aisle say something needs to be done soon.
People are addicted to painkillers and then resort to a lower-cost alternative and then die. I mean, there should be a little bit more outrage about what's going on.
I never expected that substance abuse and mental health would be major issues in my campaign until I came to Keene on my very first trip.
I've dealt with this personally with people in my life.
I'm glad that Republicans are acknowledging this issue, and I hope that we can work together.
Well, now there's a bipartisan task force in the Congress promoting cooperation between federal agencies and state governments to fight opiate addiction. As we continue our discussion on addiction in America, we're joined by one of the members who set up that task force, Congressman Frank Guinta of New Hampshire. Congressman, thanks a lot for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's been a terrible scourge in your state, in Maine, and Vermont, all through northern New England, and a lot of rural America, opiate addiction and the deaths that result. What is the first thing lawmakers can do to fight this?
Well, we've had a doubling nationally of overdoses, addictions, and deaths. And here in New Hampshire, it's been even worse. So what I have done is created the Congressional Task Force. We have 40 members of Congress. And the purpose of that is to not just inform and educate members of Congress on the problems, not just here in New England, but nationally. We have filed the Stop Abuse Act, which redirects the resources, financial federal resources, to better attack the challenges of abuse, but also the criminal side of this issue.
Well, speaking of the criminal side, you heard Jeb Bush say it. So many heroin addicts first began on prescription drugs. Most doctors are obviously responsible people. Some are not. And these drugs are on the market because they've been overprescribed. What's the law enforcement response, the appropriate law enforcement response to those physicians?
Sure. So there are people, unfortunately, Tucker, who get a legal prescription, who then get addicted to it and then go to an opiate or heroin as a result of no longer being able to obtain that original prescription. Those doctors need to be reeled in. So part of the Stop Abuse Act has a better coordinated effort to ensure that individuals aren't doctor shopping and doctors aren't overprescribing. That's part of the problem here. But on the criminal side, we also have to go after the individuals who are selling heroin. This heroin's coming from Mexico. We talk about border security in terms of immigration. We also need to remind ourselves that the majority of heroin is coming from Mexico across the southern border into the United States, into Massachusetts, and up into northern New England. That's something that our Stop Abuse Act also addresses.
Congressman, unfortunately, we're out of time. We have so little time. But just give us some sense of how big a problem this is in your state, New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire, we've had 295 deaths, heroin-related deaths, so far just this year, and we're only into November. We've had a doubling of the deaths over the last decade, as well as a doubling of the Narcan use, doubling of admissions. We have had 90,000 arrests this last year for heroin and opiate-related use. This is an epidemic in New Hampshire, and it's an epidemic across the country.
It's unbelievable. Such a small state, too. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.